memory as consciousness. We would like to, if we have to address, we would like to address this question in a different way, unlike most of the philosophers have done. Because we would like to represent truth in a different tempo-spatial coordinate, or why say a tempo, in different tempo-spatial coordinates, and then present those tempo-spatial coordinates yet again in a different frame, in a frameless reality rather, because there is no frame, in a frameless reality. So before I would like to address the question of identity, what identity exactly means, I would like to present my thesis of what exactly is existence, how I perceive existence, because that would set the tone for the answers to various questions that have cropped up in the course of time, from one generation to another, from one age to another, and which have been answered by people in different ways. From an intellectual point of view, my point of view will not be intellectual. My point of view will be that of the mystics. But certainly, I will present that mystic point of view in intellectual terms. But the source will always be mystic. So coming to this question as to what identity is, or the other question that I have posed as antecedent to the question of identity, as to what existence is, I present existence in a mathematical frame. My thesis, and it is not an intellectual thesis, it is both intellectual and supra-intellectual. But the terms, as I said earlier, are intellectual, but the source is mystic. And I present this, the mystery of existence, as in the form of a mathematical equation. This equation could be, number one, first could be 0 is equal to x plus minus x. I could conversely put it also as x plus minus x is equal to 0. And yet again, I could present it also in the form of a Venn diagram, wherein I take up a triangle wherein x is one angle on the base, minus x is another angle on the base, x on the right hand side, minus x on the left hand side of the base, and 0 intersecting and the angle at the top. So x 0 becomes somewhat like a prime meridian. 0 is the prime meridian. So, and it passes right through the middle of x and minus x. So it gives the formation of a triangle. visually. Now, if we now interrogate these equations, we'll get a number of interpretations. Take the x plus minus x is equal to 0 equation first. For any value of x, the sum of x and its opposite minus x will always be 0. And if we come to the first equation, which said 0 is equal to x plus minus x, we get the mystery to understanding how creation happened. That for any value of x, this equation will always remain. It's a perennial equation, it's an eternal equation, it can never be falsified. So the moment you say 0 is equal to x plus minus x, it gives rise to the interpretation that out of 0 you can have infinite number of opposite dualities. So you could have x as male and minus x not male, which is female, x as positive charge, minus x as negative charge. So sum up positive charge and negative charge, what do you get? No charge. So it becomes the atom or the element is deprived of its positivity and negativity. And let's take it up a little further and enter the domain or the territory of morality. X, meaning plus x, becomes good and minus x becomes evil, the opposite of good and evil. Now, the entire history of religion is based on this duality between good and evil. The Bible, when it explains the theory of creation in the book of Genesis, speaks of the fall. But before I explain that theory, what that fall signifies, let me interpret this equation still further. So 0 giving rise, 0 from my point of view means nothing. And yet out of nothing, what is arising? Something. And this something is arising in dual pairs of opposites. So x and minus x represent pairs of opposites. So non-being, 0 becomes representative of non-being, and in Buddhist terminology, shunya. Even in Vedic terminology, shunya. So out of shunya, what is emerging? Being. And being is in the form of duality, exactly. Opposite duality. That's how existence. So when you add them up, x plus minus x, when you add them up, when the two combine, what happens? There is neither x, nor is there minus x. So what happens is that attributes are gone, everything is gone. So it being opposite duality, opposite pairs of being, when they combine, what happens? They become non-being. So non-being, this is the relationship between non-being and being. So what is being is actually manifested out of non-being. And non-being is therefore the summum bonum, or the substratum, or the source of all being. Shunya never changes. It will remain eternal. 0 will remain eternal. It has no attributes. So it has no attributes. It is nirgun, nirakar. What the religions speak of, what the religious texts speak of, it is nirakar. It is infinite because it is infinite. There is nothing. You cannot define it. There are no frames of reference here. This is what I call that frameless reality. So there are no frames, there are no boundaries. It's an open set. It's not a closed set. But this, and because it has no attributes, you cannot pin it down, you cannot define it. It's an indefinable, ineffable, immutable reality. And yet, out of this indefinable, immutable, ineffable reality, what is emerging? Finite forms in opposite pairs are emerging. So the finite emerges out of the infinite. Finite forms emerging out of the infinite, and the finite is always vested with attributes. X has the attribute of being positive or good, and minus X has exactly the opposite attribute.